Hello, my name is David on behalf of the Rise and Fall Trading Hub, and I am back as promised. Now, we covered part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4, so I'm back with part 5. Now, in part 1, and in case you have not watched part 1 to 4, you can click the links in the description and watch that. So in part 1 we covered the basics, that is manual trading versus trading using an AI or a bot. We also spoke about a martingale and a few rules that you should observe while you are trading. Part 2 we covered a few things. We introduced the trading view, the analysis tool for the Riv. We introduced Williams fractals, moving average, stochastic RSI. We also spoke about why we need to trend using a lower time frame and so on and so forth. In part 3 we covered a few things, the moving average, stochastic RSI again, the candles that we should use while trading. We also introduced MACD and how to navigate around the trending view. We spoke about the wicks and so on and so forth. In part 4 we spoke about MACD, CCI, when to use 1 tick, 2 ticks, and so on and so forth. We also introduced the Williams alligator as one of the indicators, and so on and so forth. So you can watch that so that we are on the same page. Now in this part, just like I promised, we are going to be discussing 2 entry points, and in these 2 entry points we are going to use the same indicators that we have been using, and then I show you how to exactly enter a market. So we can go to the trending view. I hope by now you know how to load it up and include the indicators. So you come to the indicators. Once you've gone to your browser and searched trending view for the Riv, you get to this page. Now you can include the indicators. The first one I want us to use is the stochastic RSI. I also want us to use moving average. I also want us to use CCI, Williams fractals. Can use that. So let's say we want to use these indicators to analyze a market. So at the time I'm recording this is 10 minutes to midnight where I am, but I'm just doing this for the purposes of explaining to you and trying to demonstrate how you can get an entry point and how you can run your bot. So I've already logged into my account. Let me get one bot. So I have this bot already opened, yeah, and it is working just fine. So this is the bot that we are going to use for the purposes of demonstrating this. Now let me see whether it's working okay. Yeah, the bot is okay. It has a martingale of it should be 1, but this is the bot that we are going to use. Okay, let me change this martingale to 1. This means that it will be doubling the stake in case we encounter a loss. Now going back to the trending view, so with these indicators, I hope you remember what we said about the stochastic RSI and the CCI, the Williams fractals and the moving average. Now this is 24 hours time frame. This is V25 and you can see in the 24 hours there is it's a rise market. So we can come to 2 minutes. So we said once you realize that in 24 hours it is a rise market, it's going to, especially if you are a beginner, it's going to concentrate on getting a rise, entry points for a rise. So that's very important. Remember, we also said when you want to trend using the moving average now as an indicator, you must always ensure that when you are trending, the candlestick that is being formed is not touching the moving average. We also said for this stochastic RSI, we concentrate trending at the turning point, like in this region when the two lines have crossed and they have started separating. So these lines are about to enter this ocean. Remember, we called this ocean, so we can trend. This one shows that there is a fall, and if you look at the CCI, there is a fall. So this one could be a good market for a fall. Now we can also include if we include the other indicators, you don't have to use all of them, but for the purposes of confirmation, for instance, if you look at the Williams indicator, it is showing that now these lines, let me give the moving average a different color, like black. So you come to the settings, style, then we want to give it black. So we said when you see the Williams alligator in this shape where these lines just jump on together like this, you avoid that. We try and trend in those regions where these lines of the Williams alligator are well separated like this. So for this one, we can, for the purposes of demonstration, I can enter a trend just to show you exactly what I mean by entry point, because what is important is the entry point. Again, you can see the Williams alligator has formed. Again, remember we said we concentrate in trending using those candlesticks that don't have long wicks. Allow me to first of all remove this Williams alligator so that you can see the moving average and the candle that is being formed very well. So you come to the Williams alligator and you delete that. So you see the candle that is being formed right now is touching the moving average. All these indicators show that it's a fall market. So, and the Williams alligator was the lines were together, so it's not going to trend using this, but for the purposes of demonstration I can use it. So this is V25, so you come to the bot and you set V25 and we want to do a fall. Remember, in the 24 hours it was a rise, and I said you now want to look for a market for a rise, but since I want to demonstrate how you enter a market, I can use this. So when you come to the bot, there is this part I'm pointing called charts. You click on that. Once you click on that, and this is V25, so you change the market to V25 over here, and then the time frame is 2. Already that is 2. Okay, and it's a fall. Now this is how you enter a market. So if you've analyzed everything and you realize that it's a fall, indeed it's a fall, although the market is about to change, you come and consider this candle that is being formed. So for this candlestick, if you want to enter a fall market, you can see right now there is a small wick that has been formed. On the lower side of this candle there is a wick that is formed. So we enter the market, and this is the first entry point. And by the way, can you see this candle that has no wick? This one, it would have been a very good place to, it's a very good candle to use in trending, the Marumbozu candlestick. But you'll be learning about the types of candles and patterns, so don't worry about that. So when we want to enter a market, we we look at the market, you see this wick that is being formed here. Immediately the candle covers this wick, moving downwards. That is the time to enter your market. That is the entry point. So this is a fall market, and there is a wick. It has now been, no, it's still retesting. Once it covers this wick completely and it moves, even if it is one step downwards after covering that wick, that is the point where you run your bot. That is the entry point. Again, we said don't trend when the time, see this timer is showing that it's a few seconds remaining. So if it's a few seconds remaining, you wait, and that will give me an opportunity to explain the second entry point. Now the second entry point is this. When let's say you have analyzed your market and you've realized that now this is going to be a rise. Let's go back, actually, see. So it's changing actually. So let's come back. The first entry point, we have said, if this maybe for instance this was to be a rise market, you have analyzed your market and you want to enter a rise. This candlestick that is being formed, it has a wick above. So for a rise, for you to enter a rise market, you wait until this wick has been covered by the body. So once it has been covered by the body and the candlestick grows upwards, even if it's once, you run your bot. Now that is the first entry point, and we are going to be using it as we continue. Even when it comes to analyzing the market using support and resistance, which is likely to be our next part, that is the entry point we shall be considering. So if it was a rise market, we would run our bot at which point? Let's wait and see. This is V25. So we would wait until it is completely covered. It still has a small wick. We wait until the wick is completely covered and the candlestick grows at least once. But consider also the timer, it's about to get to the next candle, so you don't enter a trend there. Now if you want to trend using a new candle, now this is the second entry point. Let's say you've analyzed your market. See, our market has really changed. We could even look for another one. Now this one, we can enter a rise after the next. If the next candlestick is green, we can enter with the other one because this one is touching the moving average. But if this is V10, so if we were to enter a trend in V10, and the bot we also change to 10, and let's say we wanted to enter a rise, and this should be 2 minutes. I forgot to change that. So charts. So if it was a rise, so we wait until the wick has been completely covered and we run the bot. But if you want to trend using a new candlestick, let's say you want to trend using a new candlestick, the entry point is, and let's say your market, you've realized that it is a rise. So if it is a rise, what you want to do now is, if the new candlestick forms and it rises, then rises again. Let me demonstrate that. Let's say it rises and rises again. a second time it rises, just a second. So let's say it's a candle pattern that is being formed. So and you want to enter a market. So what you do is, if the candle pattern grows, the candlestick grows upwards once, let me use this. So if the candlestick grows once upwards, it's a new one now, and then let's say after it grows once, it grows upwards again, then upwards again, and then it retests. At that instant, when it has moved upwards once, twice, thrice, and then it retests once, you run your bot. Now that is the second entry point, and this one applies for a new candlestick. So like now, for instance, this is the new candle is about to be formed. So if it grows upwards once, it has retested. So it has to move upwards once, twice, thrice, and then it retests. Then that becomes an entry point. Now in the same breath, if it's a fall and it's a new candle pattern like this one that is being formed, and it moves downwards once, then twice, then thrice, then it retests, you enter your market. This is done at this point. So that's why I said in part 4, that once you've done your analysis in the trending view and you are sure that your market is, say, falling, once you set up your bot, you set it up for a fall market. Now you come to the charts. Now at the charts, even if you are using an Android phone or one gadget, as long as you've done your analysis and you've realized that it is a fall, now you want to use a new candlestick that is being formed here. If it falls once, twice, thrice, and then retests, you enter your market for a fall. That is the second entry point. Now if it is okay, let's wait for the new one. So if it goes once down once, it has moved up. So if it is moving down once, twice, thrice, then it retests, you enter your market. But if the candle has already been formed and it has a wick, let me look for another market. You know, actually you can add indicators at this point, especially if you are using a PC. At this point we have indicators. If you click on this icon, you get indicators that show the momentum of a trend. You can include maybe the MACD. The only problem is that if you include the indicators here, they don't appear you know, as big as in the trending view. So it's not that pretty. So MACD, you can also add the ones for trend. You can add CCI, the moving average, you can add it, but when you look at them, they are not that nice. So it's good to use the trending view for your analysis. I think also in the trending view you have so many other things you can do on it. On this one is a bit limited, so let's just do away with this. Let's delete them so that we can go back to what we were saying. So those are the two entry points that we are going to use henceforth when we are entering a market. See, it grows once, twice, thrice, then retests. You run your bot for a fall market at that instance. Now remember, we said in rise and fall you can do a lot of analysis, but that analysis is geared towards getting one candlestick that you can use to trend, just one, and with that one candle you are going to go. Now something else I want to remind you is, we said for this moving average, if you want to enter a rise, you want to enter a rise market, make sure that the candle that is being formed is above the moving average. This moving average. So like this candle pattern here would be ideal for a rise because it's above the moving average. But the ones that are formed below, for a fall market, make sure that the candlestick that you are using, or the candlestick that is being formed, is below the moving average and it's not touching the moving average, and if it has a smaller wick, then the better. That's what to do. Again, remember in part I think 3 we said for this moving average you want now to trend where it is steep. The steeper it is, then better. It shows that it has the market has a lot of momentum, like in this region. Let me show you. Using this, let me mark this region, like this one. See this? So this one shows that this moving average is very steep, and so because it is steep compared to this region, if you compare that to this region, you discover that this part is steeper than this. Is almost horizontal. This one is kind of a ranging market, so you want to keep off that. But this one is a nice point of entering a market. Now let's look for another market. So we can also add the Williams alligator now. See how it is, well separated. So in 24 hours this is V50. In 24 hours it is what? In 24 hours it's falling. So when we come to 2 minutes, we want now to look for a fall market. So this market shows that the stochastic RSI shows that it's about to reverse and start rising, so we can give it some time. Nevertheless, I can use it maybe to say something else. So this is V50. Come and change this to 50. Alright, so a new candle pattern is about to be formed. Up once, up once, then retesting. So this one would have, if it was a rise, we wanted to enter a rise, this one would have worked so well for a rise, of course, if the analysis was supporting a rise. So in that rise and fall, you can do a lot of analysis just to get one candlestick to trend with, and you are good to go. So those are basically the two entry points that we shall be using. Now we have a long way to go, because for you to enter a trend now confidently, remember, you can combine these indicators, they are so good, but ensure that no matter the indicators that you are using, at least the Williams fractals is there, the stochastic RSI, and also the MACD. The MACD is also okay, but we say that the MACD is somehow slow. Sometimes it's not quick to respond. So, and these lines, these oscillators for the MACD, we said that once they have crossed and started separating, just like for stochastic RSI, that would be a good point to enter a market. So that becomes a general entry point, but you have to come now to the charts and look at how the candle patterns are, the candle that is being formed is, before you enter a trend. For instance, for this one, if we wanted to enter a rise, do you see this wick that is there? We wait for it until it is completely covered. We have another one. Fall, retesting. So this one, that's how you run your bot for a fall. I hope I'm clear and you understand that. Kindly comment on the comment section whether you've understood it or not. I wish we had a good market so that I run my bot. I can see, let's see in 24 hours how many minutes are remaining to the close of the candle. 2 hours and 45 minutes, and this is a fall. So we can look for a fall market for this one. So once you have understood the strategies, the good thing is that you have so many volatilities you can try. So you just need to come to this one, see whether it is agreeing with your analysis. If it's not a good market, you go and look for another one. But the entry points are the same, whether you are using V50 or any other volatility. The entry point I've talked about remains the same. Now, every trader has got his own strategy that works better for him or her. So you should be able to do a lot of practice and come up with your own strategy. You need to know which of these indicators works best for you. So the information I'm giving you is just to guide you and to show you how they operate and the entry points. So you do a lot of practice and see how it works for you. So if you wanted to do a rise market here, we would wait for the next candle. You see this one that is being formed is touching the moving average. So we would wait for the next the candlestick being formed and trend using that. Let me look for another one. V100. So the first thing you do, once you change the volatility, go to the 24 hours. This is a rise in 24 hours. So come back to 2 minutes and look for an entry point for a rise market. Unfortunately for the Williams alligator, this shows that these lines are not separated. So this one, if you enter a market, you are going to encounter some losses because the candles will be retesting a lot. Again, these candle patterns, the candlesticks that are here, you can see they have long wicks. So that one would also give you, the wicks come about because of retesting. So that means if it was a rise, it would have a lot of retesting, and vice versa. So you look for another market. It requires a lot of patience. That one I said in part 2. So you need a lot of patience when you are dealing with the rise and fall. And it is your impatience that makes the reef rich. If you grow impatient or you force a market, for instance, if you look at this one, the MACD is forming these bars are not totally rent. They are partially, they are not complete, like this rent or this green. These ones are not completely rent. So that means that this is not a good market. But if you force it and you decide to enter a market, of course especially if your account is small, you run into some losses. Remember, in the rise and fall, if your account is big enough, then you can just run your boat and you are going to go as long as you have a martingale of maybe 2. But if your account is small, it's going to do that analysis. It's very hard for a candle to be formed like this. It's very hard for a candle to grow, to rise, and then wait a minute. It's very difficult for a candle to rise continuously without retesting. So like say it rises once, then twice, then it rise 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times without the retesting. Somehow it's going to retest. So, and that's how it is. So you may not get maybe 12 straight wins or 12 straight losses. It's a bit difficult, but of course, depending on the number of ticks you are using, they can also happen, but the probability is low. Let's try another one. 51S. You see a candlestick like this one, it has a very small wick, and then the MACD is completely rent. Unfortunately, the stochastic RSI is showing that this market is about to reverse, but such are the candlesticks that you should be looking for. Let's look for another one, maybe the last one. But I believe you've understood the entry point, because that was my objective for this part, for you to understand the entry point. So we've learned about 2 today, and those are, this is V101S, 101S, so in 24 hours what is happening, this is it's almost a ranging market, this one, more of a rise. So in the 2 minutes we want to look for a rise like this one. So if you identify, if this MACD was completely rent, then we would go and go to the charts. Let me show you how you do that. So you can see this wick now that is here. So we can wait until that wick is completely covered, and then we run our bot. Though this candlestick is almost completely formed. So in the new one, it has started with a fall. So for this one, if this one grew and it covered this wick completely and then surpassed this region just by one step, just once, we would have run the bot for a rise market. See, now the one that is being formed, it has a wick. So if this wick is completely covered, you know, when the wick is completely covered, it means that now the candle is gaining momentum, and that is what we want. So trending using those candles with momentum is so good because it will always give you wins. Like if this candlestick grows upwards with momentum covering this wick, then we would be sure that we would have some good profit.